So, hi everybody. Thanks to Sam for running this show for the Leaders Lab. And I'm sorry I can't be with you live, but here's a little video that's an overview of the December packet opening to joy. Oh my, do we need that? So, the packet, oh no. I want to open up with a little quote from lovely Mary Oliver. Every day I see or hear something that more or less kills me with delight. So there are 4 sessions, four sessions in this Opening to Joy December packet. Creating joy on the work of whimsy. What a wonderful word. Sharing joy on the work of generosity. Finding joy in tough times on the work of redirecting our gaze. And the joy of us on the work of creating home and being together. So when we had this brainstorm meeting, there was grief and frustration and a sense of gloom because we thought last spring when the vaccines came out that by now in December we would be celebrating in the traditional ways. We would have a real pageant, all those fun things that we remember. But no, we're still in virtual. We're still wondering. Now we hear a little glimmer of hope as our children can now get vaccinated. But then these wonderful resilient DREs that come to the Brainstorm Lab, we started talking about recycling bowling balls. We started talking about the joys of a striped shirt and a weekly card game. And pretty soon, as I described in the welcome, we were just howling with laughter and making puns and making silly escapist ideas for what we could do in this December. And so I offer you a little moment of whimsy, smiles, and joys as well. So let's tease apart those 4 sessions I just described. The first, creating joy. So one of the things that I go to is doing silly things with the Zoom. If you go to your stop video and hit the little button, the caret expansive button, and choose a video filter, you can choose something that puts some things on you. Look at that. It's really fun. Here's another one. Whoa! And you can imagine what fun the kids are going to have with this. And also, let's see if I can find the one I was really wanting to do with you. You can do lovely little parts of you and put things on you. Here's another one. Yes. Oh, and here's the Christmas one. Of course, don't you think you should do this session as Rudolph? All right. And then you can go back and find the none button, and you're done. That was a little fun, wasn't it? That's a little whimsical for creating joy. Silly Zoom hats with the video filters and studio effects. In addition, I would love for you to find a congregant. Now, I had some in my former congregations who are magicians. We had some youth who could do that kind of thing, or make balloon sculptures and do that with the children, whether we're in person or on the Zoom. So the second session is sharing joy, and that is the message that generosity makes us whole. The read aloud is suggested by the Widening the Circle research team. It's called The Word Collector. And they gave us a beautiful video story read aloud of Barack and Michelle Obama reading The Word Collector aloud and just shining through how they both love words, shining through sharing this with the children. In addition, there's a suggestion for making a chalice snowflake, and it's on the worship web. Here's the fancy one. You see how the chalices come out? And I could see these being used as greeting cards for when you're giving mitten tree donations or sock tree donations to someone. It's not totally easy, but once again, a little resilience, a little persistence lesson. And then, oh yeah, there's the whole mitten or sock tree ritual put in there. You can do it with children by themselves, with the leader, or you can make it a multi-generational mitten tree event, and that's all in a Google Doc for you. Those are the first two. The third one is finding joy in tough times. There's a little bit of connection with the solstice, because when we're looking for joy in the tough times, the solstice can illustrate it by saying, yes, it is the darkest night of the year. It's also the beginning of the return of the light. Yes, the glass is half empty, or it can be half full. That's one of the things that we do in that lesson. In addition, this includes Leah Morris's wonderful interpretation of the Zen koan called The Strawberry, and I commend that to you. What a gift to have Leah's stuff. The last lesson is called The Joy of Us. Now, when I was a DRE in a congregation, that Sunday after Christmas, you have a very tired staff. You don't know if you're even going to meet. This year, indeed, Christmas is on a Saturday night, so you're looking at Sunday morning, what do you do? So I put this in so that you could adapt it as, let's all just gather, whoever would like to, socially distanced, or in your own home with a Zoom going, and make gingerbread houses together. There's a wonderful way to make very simple using those squares of graham crackers, and the link is in there. And in addition, I put in the Ode to Joy flash mob. That is one of my favorite viral videos. One bass player comes out to a square in, I believe it's Seville, Spain, and just starts playing those bass notes. And a little girl has dropped a coin in his case. Well, it's all set up so that pretty soon the whole orchestra comes out, the whole choir comes out, and they're singing Beethoven's beautiful Ode to Joy. It happens to be the theme song also of the European Union. For some reason, that music gives everyone a sense of, yes, we can make it through this and find joy. And the other connection is that Beethoven himself, when he wrote this, I believe it's his ninth symphony, was deaf, totally deaf. And when he was conducting this for the very first time, he was offbeat and he was trying to keep a tempo that was probably in his head, but finally everyone in the orchestra looked at one of the other players, the violinist or something, who was able to keep the tempo. It still was such a magnificent piece that the audience gave him a standing ovation. But he didn't know that. They were clapping and yelling and standing, and he was facing the audience until one of the contralto singers said, "Mr. Beethoven, turn around," and he could see them screaming and yelling. For me, that illustrates the imperfect joy. The reality was he couldn't hear it anymore, but he could see what he had given the people who heard that music. Ah, yes. So, flash mob and gingerbread houses, very simple. I put in the youth group packet a whole thing of imperfect joy because I think that that would be another time to recognize that joy isn't all happiness all the time, is it? It's imperfect. Our holidays are imperfect. ourselves are imperfect, and yet sometimes there are beautiful moments of joy. So I'll close with this quote. We tend to forget that happiness doesn't come as a result of getting something we don't have, but rather of recognizing and appreciating what we do have. Thank you, Frederick Koenig. Blessed be. Amen. And thank you for being here.